Okay, let me try to record. Okay, it just started working. And we said a lot already, but that's fine.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Thank you. Just
Okay.
You can just get what you said now. Thank you.
So that's good. So this list of scholarships will be pasted. Let me just do a rundown. Commonwealth, Chevron, government sponsored. There are other scholarships by either NGOs, departments, such as the Standard Bank Africa, Green Scholarship, Allen Nesta, the Ballet Scholarship at UCL, the African Initiative of Governance, that's the name I was looking for, scholarship, and the Deep Mind Scholarship, Cambridge Trust, Oxford, the assorted kinds of scholarships in Oxford. And yeah, let me tell you a very quick story. Last week, I went to London to visit a family member. Then when I was returning, I bumped into somebody. He was looking at me strangely, and I thought, have I seen this face before? Do I know you before? Then he came forward and introduced himself. That I think he thinks he knows me on LinkedIn. I was like, oh, really? Sorry, I don't know you. Then for the way he was looking at the number of bags he carried, it's as if he just arrived to the UK. So he was at the coach station. I was like, oh, you see me when you here? I was like, yes, he just came to the UK actually. He's taking a bus to East Anglia. I was like, oh, that's nice. I was like, oh, what course are you doing? He said he was going to East Anglia, I think something about animal or plants science, and it was fully funded. The name of the scholarship is the David Sainsbury's Scholarship. I've never heard of that before. So what he did, as Dr. Fola said, he went to the school website, he liked the course, and went to the funding page, and he stumbled on this scholarship that was fully funded and was refunding their airfares as well. I'm like, that's big. So interestingly, he got this scholarship with a friend of his who was in the same department with him in the agriculture department in Ghana. So he and his friend came to the UK on that scholarship, fully funded. Like, this information is very key. So there might be lots of qualified people out there, but they don't even know this scholarship exists. So it's the David Sainsbury's Scholarship at the University of East Anglia, also here in the UK. It covers everything. So just get it. You wouldn't have to move a financial muscle in the first place. I think when the next window open, I will broadcast it and everybody would hear that there's a scholarship here, there's money here as well. So for PhDs, there are lots of PhD students. Some of them do not even have names, You would just go there to the department like, oh, we need this student to do this topic, or we need students in this general area. Just submit and you get your studentship. I think mine was like that for my PhD. They call it, well, it's named after my department. My department is called PACE, that's Politics and International Studies Department. And they just apply, they consider you, if they have money, they will share the money among the number of students they can fund, and they pay for your tuition and they pay for your living stipend as well. So there are lots of studentships in different universities, sorry, for PhDs. And the good thing about PhD, most times for STEM students, that's those in the sciences, just like in the US, sometimes you can move right from a BA or BSc to a PhD for a number of them as well. So it goes in the data science, mathematics. I have a friend who moved from BSc mathematics down doing the PhD, because most of these PhDs, they have like an embedded master's course. So the first is like for a master's, and if you scale through, you join a PhD, but not so much for the social science. And the social science, they want you to do a master's first before you go to a PhD most times. Then probably you've heard of the website jobs.ac.uk. Anytime you go to that website, there is a tab there for PhD opportunities. Just click on it. There's a filter function as well, choose international students, and to show you a list of different funded opportunities, and most of them are fully funded for international students, mostly in the UK, but also you can get also from Germany, from Ireland, and neighboring countries as well. So it's called jobs.ac.uk. There are always PhD positions. They're probably not for your field, but if you check often, because they refresh their feed often. And I actually found my PhD there. I remember my present PhD funding was found. It was just there. Those interested in politics and international development at the University of Warwick, I checked the criteria. I check whether I need to contact a supervisor or not, and that was how I got it. So who knows, your own opportunity might be hidden there. So try the website. Let's also find a phd.com. You can also go there as well. Yes, Dr. Fola, yeah, she has come to my rescue. Thank you.
Sorry, let me
yes,
just very quickly chime in terms of the jobs.ac. For me personally, I have at least 4 or 5 jobs that have been offered. Some I've taken, others I have not. Everything have been from jobs.ac. I always, and I would encourage you to do so, subscribe to their mailing list. So for example, you're interested in public health PhD funding opportunity, do the what's it called? Filter the search and put it, and then subscribe to that filtered search. So what that means is that anytime there's anything related, I just put mine in health, so that, something that is not even directly related, that I may tweak it depending on, I can also see that. So you do that, and then you subscribe to them either daily or, weekly or bi-monthly. I would advise, I have mine on daily. Even right now, I don't need a job, neither am I looking for PhD opportunity, but I just have it on just to see what are the opportunities that are coming on. So I would advise you do that, and not just do that for jobs.ac, but do that. I mean, what are you using your email to do if you don't, get some of these mails in your inbox? So do that for jobs.ac, find a PhD like Victor was about to say, and any other websites that we would share, or that you've heard about even before this session. Subscribe to all of them, have them send those things in. That's how you would be able to get those PhD funding or even master's funding, because jobs.ac does have master's adverts as well, and any other place that we may recommend. I think there's also findamasters.com, I believe, is somewhat similar to find PhD as well. So anyway, I just wanted to put that in, that not just go to those websites and look at them, but go to them, subscribe to them, let them send you inbox every day or every week. And then you go through all of those and you screen down, okay, I think I found 2 scholarships I may be able to apply for this week. And then you work on those before next week. Because like he said, it's a lot of job getting some of these scholarships. So you need to try and put in the work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Fola. So now we've told you different strategies. I think the first one we mentioned is actually go to university websites. This is what I was doing in my free time when I was looking for scholarship. Just random universities, go to their website. You'll be surprised at what you stumble on. So just go to their website, see the course, then check the funding page. You just be like, oh, so this is even here. I think the issue with most UK scholarships is that they are not well advertised, they're not broadcast. They'll just be hidden somewhere in the website, and you don't know until you check it out. I remember there was a university, this was some months ago, East Anglia, yeah, that was East Anglia. When they started giving their Allen and Lester Ferguson scholarship, that scholarship was on the website for months and nobody applied. Then somebody from the department sent me to do a video on the scholarship that, see, we have this scholarship yet, it's fully funded, but people from developing countries, but nobody's applying for it. They don't know why. Or like, I think I know why. It's just hidden somewhere in your website and nobody knew about it. So I had to do a video on it. And I'm happy that at least I know 1 or 2 people who are going there now for their masters. So you can always do that. That's like your advantage, that the lesser the number of people applying for a scholarship, probably the higher the odds that you actually get it. But that's the funny truth sometimes. So all these hidden scholarships, you might want to do your background research. So the university website, now you have these websites as well, like jobs.ac.uk or findaphd.com or findamasters.com. So you could use the combination of all of them to see which one works for you. And you might even get multiple scholarships at the end of the day. Then you'll be in that beautiful position of choosing, oh, I like this one, I don't like that one. Then that's the prayer I have for most of you here, if all of you here, as a matter of fact. So let's quickly see if there's any other thing I've not spoken about. Yes, cold emails to professors, that whether it's necessary. For masters, generally, you do not need to send a cold email to any professor. Well, it's good to like check their profile, so you can like mention their names in your statement of purpose. That I am aware of the research being done in your department. Well, I see that Dr. This is publishing on this. Dr. That worked on marginalized women in the global south. So you can mention their names in your statement of purpose, but you do not necessarily need to contact them, because these scholarships are mostly thought-based. You might do a dissertation at the end of the day, that's true, but they're mostly thought-based, so you don't need like a blessing of the supervisor to get the scholarship for the master's case. And since you know you're not going to be working as a research assistant for any of them, like in the US or in Canada, so you do not necessarily need their direct involvement in the application. For a PhD, it depends. Sometimes they tell you to contact, sometimes they tell you not to. In my case, I was meant to look for a supervisor and actually write a name in my application, that this supervisor has accepted to supervise me. But I have a friend, mathematics department, he had all the documents already. I said, no need to contact the supervisor. If your application is competitive enough, we'll admit you, and then we'll match you to the appropriate supervisor. So it depends on the school, it depends on the application you're furthering. So know exactly which one, read the instructions very carefully. And if you're not sure, just send them an email I think this is another issue. A lot of people are very reluctant to send emails to departments. I don't know why. I think they're scared of like, oh, me contacting this department. Wow, wow. But there's no big deal. I remember when I was applying for my PhD, it was in the middle of the pandemic. I was waiting for my transcript. Somehow it was delayed. And the deadline of the scholarship was less than a week away. Immediately I sent them an email. This was the School of Oriental and African Studies. I sent them an email and told them, because of disruptions by the pandemic, I'm not able to get my transcripts on time. And I fear that I might miss out in this scholarship. Is there something that could be done about it? Do you know that they extended the deadline by 2 weeks for me? On the official website, it was still the normal deadline. But because I contacted them, they extended it for 2 weeks for me. And a month later, I got the scholarship. And it was just for one person. You can imagine. Imagine I didn't send that email. I'm not saying it's going to work every time, but at least make sure you reach out at least to get clarification. Just yesterday, I got a DM from somebody. So I did a video about a week ago on York University. And somebody was complaining that he has sent an email, he was not able to get in, and he has sent emails to professors. I was like, have you tried the department secretary or the head of department? Because there are some departments that don't even need you to send emails to professors. And if they see, they get irritated. So ask the department secretary, that, is this necessary? What are the procedures? And so he sends to the head of department, and that one clarified word by word, sentence by sentence, how they choose their candidates. So imagine he never sent that email. So always try to reach out. Be courteous about it, of course. Use the right salutations, dear doctor, this, dear professor, that. Very good English as well, as best as you can. And very not too lengthy as well, so you don't take too much of their time and go straight to the point. And you'll be surprised at the kind of help they get. Because in most universities as well, there are often people who are paid to answer questions for intending scholars. So imagine the person is just there peering at his laptop or a laptop and nobody's sending emails. Please give them some job to do, by engaging with these departments and sending them emails in the first place. So as I said, cold emails, it depends on the department. For a PhD, for a master's, usually you do not need a cold email in the UK. Then one thing about research proposal for a PhD, for a master's, you do not need, generally you do not need a research proposal. For a PhD, it depends as well. So some departments will tell you, oh, there are professors in these subfields. So send them a proposal, send them a snippet of what you intend to research, and they would either accept or decline. Other universities would actually give you the topic, that this is the topic we're researching on. What you just need to do is to demonstrate that you have the necessary skills or background to undertake this topic. And they'll tell you whether it is necessary or not to send a proposal. So it's also not compulsory, it depends on the application you're going for. For my own field, I had to send a proposal as part of the application. But I know many people who never had to send any proposal in the first place. So within instructions as well is very important. So the fact that I sent one doesn't mean you have to send yours as well. It depends on the university. So quickly about migration before we probably, Dr. Fola might have one or two things to also say here. So are you allowed to stay back in the UK after your scholarship? So this is like a hot question most people also ask. I say it depends on the scholarship. The chaplain wants you to leave and go back to your country for 2 years before you return. Commonwealth will book your tickets, but some people do not leave, especially those who either get jobs or a PhD. And some of them might be courteous enough to inform Commonwealth that, oh, I got a PhD, I got a job. And if it's a PhD, most times they give you a letter of no objection. For jobs, what people do most times is that they go back home, just stay there for 1 or 2 months, the duration of applying for a job visa, then come back. I know about 3 or 4 Commonwealth scholars who got jobs. Then now they're going back home in like September, October to apply for a work visa. Then probably December, January, they're back here. So that's also very possible. For these other scholarships I mentioned, apart from the Commonwealth or the Chevening, most of them do not have any caveats. Like when I had the Standard Bank, when I thought it was a bad thing for me, I didn't get the Commonwealth, but they didn't have any caveats. When you, after your course, you can go anywhere you like, go to China, go to Japan, stay in the UK, they do not mind. So it depends on the scholarship. So have this also in your mind when you searching for the scholarship that, oh, am I going to return? Am I going to stay back? So in case you have that option, choose between Commonwealth or one that doesn't want you to, that won't bother you to return in the first place. So kind of search quickly. Yeah, let me give it to Dr. Fola before we run out of time. Yeah, Dr. Fola.
No, you have done fabulous. You've done justice to all the comments or things that we should touch on. I have been trying to address questions within the chat section. Someone asked, I think we would be having Q&A after this at, the main the main room. So hopefully we would, if I haven't responded to any of your questions, then maybe you can raise it once we get back to the main hall. But in all of this, I think all in all, we can say a lot, but this is your journey, right? And so you need to decide. The decision is, okay, I want to get a scholarship and I'm going to put in the work. And everything we have said here and other things that we share on social media platforms, on all the outlets that we use, they are all for you to, take that challenge. If you are determined, remember that it is not a day's job. People apply for years, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Hopefully you won't be one of those. For my PhD scholarship, I applied once. That's the only PhD scholarship I ever applied for, and I got it. But you cannot just fingers. Even when I applied, in my mind, I was thinking, okay, while I was waiting for their response, should I apply for something else or should I wait? And I hadn't even gone halfway into my master's. Like literally, I have not 6 months or so into my master's. So I was still thinking, I mean, I still had time. I knew I still had time, but I was thinking, should I not? And eventually it came out and I got it. But and I know there are some people that they also have such, but you can't put your mind into, I'm just going to apply for this and that will be it. So please have a spreadsheet. You should have a folder with different subfolders for scholarship and everything, this university, that university, this scholarship body, that one, this funding body, that funding body, when are they open, when are they closing, the links, all the sites, like I said, all the websites Victor has mentioned, subscribe to all of them. Just push yourself because it's not easy, especially for example, PhD, you are getting, I mean, thousands of, maybe close to 100K in some instances. It's a lot of money. So please, let's try and be as determined as possible for those scholarships. And thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your interest in the UK. See you later.
All right, so thank you, everyone. I would like to appreciate our panelists for the job well done in the different breakout rooms. Thank you so much. So right now we're gonna just go through our question and answer. So if you have any question that you would like to ask the general audience, please go ahead and do so now. And so that we can round up in the next 23 minutes. Yeah. I think I have one person raising her hand already. Rachel, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. I was supposed to ask a question in our breakout section, but due to the time. Okay, my question is, I have a master's degree in public health epidemiology, and I'm in Australia now, in Perth precisely. But because of my family, I can't move away from here because I searched online and I found out that there are no schools here offering public health epidemiology. But during our breakout section, Israel made mention of we being flexible. So my question is, how do I go about it if I want to be flexible going to other states to apply for my PhD? That's for one. That's for one. Then also, Mr. Aaron, during our section, he made mention of Australian awards. So he said, if you're going to apply for that after you're done, you have to go back to your country. For someone who is already in Australia, if I apply, do I need to go back? These are my two questions. Thank you.
All right, Israel, do you want to do justice to the first question?
Okay, with regards to the first question, what I would say is that, when I talked about flexibility, I mean flexibility in your research interest as well. So it's not just about moving away from, a particular location to another location, but then in your research interest. Now, let me say this. You may want to also know that staying alone in Perth would limit you greatly. There's a lot of states and universities in Australia that you want to explore. If you think, just do the, opportunity cost or value review and say, do you want to stay in Perth or do you want to check some other area? But then with regards to the first question of, being flexible, think about other things you can do aside from, public health, that are tangential to your research interest. Think about it broadly, very flexible, and think about how you can, because even when you start doing research, like I said, you would see that what you start with sometimes might not be what you will end with, right? So just be open, kind of categorize, different areas of research within that field of study and see whether there are some other areas you can blossom, and then there are some other areas you can maybe explore within Perth as well.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, yeah.
Thank you.
Aaron, please, can you go ahead with the second question? Or if you want to
Yes,
still add to the first question, can go ahead as well.
yes. I'm in the space of public health, and public health is well funded. I think that question is from Rachel. Public health is well funded in Australia, and you have the leverage to the flexibility of what you want to do. My field is public health as well, but I have nothing to do with epidemiology. I'm looking more on the social science of social research side of things. So it's about coming up with a proposal. What interests you? What have you done in your master's? Was there any topic that sparked up your interest? What is actually in vogue now that you want to look at? And then try to come up with something. It's you're in a very fortunate field where there's so much money in public health. So just try to look at what you want to come up. Could be from your own space of your masters or what is actually happening in Australia at the moment. So try to see what you can come up with that. But yeah, bear in mind that it's well funded and an interesting field that you can do. I'm currently doing something around HIV and disability, and it's just a merger of something I brought together from my practice. So just think in that direction. About the second question, I'm not sure about the Australian awards. I don't know if are you a domestic student? Are you domestic, or you still have your international status?
I still have my international status.
Okay. With that, I need. I'm not sure if that, it's a caveat that if you are, because you are applying as an international student, the understanding and the firm thing with Australia was that when you finish, you have to return to your home country. So that's a rule with the scholarship. I'm not sure because you are here. I mean, you're still an international student, so that rule might apply. So I will encourage you to look towards the RTP scholarship, which so much funding, so much money in that space, because you're in public health. You cannot run out of money in Australia with the RTP scholarship. So just look wide and focus on the RTP scholarship, and yeah, look everywhere and anywhere. Thank you.
So
Thank
much,
you very
Aaron,
much.
for that.
Thank you.
All right, so can we go to Kehinde? Kehinde, please go ahead and ask your question.
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon from Nigeria. My name is Kainde from Nigeria. I would like to know. I actually have my mind on the US fundings, and I've actually been working on some schools. I've been working on some schools, but there is actually one school I would love to go to, but they are not offering a course I intend to go for, but they are offering something very related, something very, very related. I want to actually go for a plant science course as an agriculturist, but they are offering forestry. They are not offering plant sciences. So I would like to know what I can do in that case, what I can do in that case to actually help me and to actually help my documents and everything for the admission and the funding. So that's my question. And also I would like to know some techniques that one could actually use in drawing professors to him or herself. If you get me very well, sir. Thank you so much.
All right, sorry. Before Sunday or Amaka actually respond to the questions, please, for subsequent people who are going to be asking questions, you are only limited to one question because of our time. Please take notes. All right.
So sorry about that.
Interjection between the program you are interested in and the one you saw on the website. It's just about you finding a balance. Are you interested in that one you saw? Do they have funding for it? And how can you leverage on what you have already to stand a chance for that program? So that is it. Most time you don't find exactly what you studied in Nigeria, because this is a very diverse and in-depth society where they do research in even little things that you can think of. So as long as you have a background which relates, maybe you have done a course, maybe one course in your undergrad that relates to that PhD program, you definitely stand a chance to apply to it. You know, there is no restriction for that. And don't just micro zone yourself to, oh, if it is not this program, it is not the other one. So there's diversity. I have a friend here who studies, I think, physiology or something, and then he's doing a program called drug delivery, something on drug delivery. Like, it's a very unique program. So US will always give you that opportunity to explore totality a bit different from what you've known in Nigeria and all that. So go for it. And if I get correctly your second question, you're talking about what's the second question? I can't remember that.
How do you draw professors? Because I've written to several professors.
Okay.
I've written to over 40 or 50 professors, and I've not really gotten a very, very positive answer from them. So
Okay. So in terms of sending emails to professor, yes, most of them might not reply your emails. And you have to be careful which professors are you sending emails. Are you sending emails to emeritus professors, full professors, all those ones like adjunct professors? You might not get responded. Even if you get, they might tell you they're not accepting students because they are. So you should be targeting assistant professors, most associate professors. Even associate professors sometimes don't even, they are not too enthusiastic to accept PhD students. But those assistant professors that are just getting into the system, they have targets. They have 5 years to tenure. So within 5 years, they have to get students, do research, do this, do that. They have a lot to do within that period. So always target assistant professors. And in sending your code emails, you have to be very specific. You have to go straight to the point because they receive these emails like tons every day. There are templates here and there. Of course, we have scholars like have curated templates of how to compose these emails on Twitter. So just use those templates, modify it, don't copy and paste. Write it with your own words, write something that you are interested in working on. How does it relate with that professor? 2-3 paragraph maximum is enough. Don't write your SOP on a code email. So this professor will not have time to read that. But just specifically, your first line should draw the attention of that professor. Sometimes I tell people templates are good, but sometimes be creative, right? You can just, introduce yourself and say, I read this paper about your research and I found this thing. Like, that can be your first paragraph. You don't have to be, my name is this, I finished from this school. No, those things don't interest them. What they interest them is that, oh, this person you like my research. Wow, that's interesting. Like, that should be like your attraction point. Once the person reads this, I feel like, okay, wow, okay, we can talk. So that can be a way to, to start your code email, and you can get more attention using that strategy. And I remember when I first code email my current advisor, like, I was straight to the point. The heading of my email was, or the subject of my email was, can you be my advisor? That was the title. I didn't use prospective PhD students. Like, and when he replied me, was like, that was what even attracted him to me. Like, he was like, wow, like, it was a very unique heading that I used. So just try and find something creative and make sure you are not sounding over, confident or something like that.
All right, thank you so much, Sunday, for that. I mean, you mentioned something very important. You said templates are good, but be creative. You don't have to box yourself, because sometimes some of these professors are not conventional. So even if you use conventional means to reach out to them, they might know. It might be something awkward. My code email was not even that good. When I reached out to my current advisor, and here I am today. So just highlight your research interest. That's one of those things they want to see, and your enthusiasm for that research interest. Yeah. I don't know if Mark Apis want to add to that before we move to the next person. All right, thank you. HGT, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Please keep it very simple. And I will appreciate if our responses to the questions can be as possible as well. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Hamza from Nigeria. Please, I'm asking, I have a MPH and I'm planning to process admission in the UK. Please, what are my chances? And please, the second question, where can I put professional certificates that I got online in my CV? Thank you.
All right, our UK people.
Okay, I think this will probably, okay, I think I will just respond very quickly. Can you see me? I can't see myself, but anyway, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. So for MPH, I think the first, I got the second question. I'm not sure the first one. So the second question is, where should you put your online qualifications? Is that on your CV or in your statement of purpose? If it's a CV,
in my CV. Yes.
If it's a CV, all you just need to do is to create a section, and you can title it whatever, online qualifications or qualifications achieved, and then you list them out however you want to write them. But it should be somewhere towards after you've put your educational qualifications, and then that can come after that. Sorry, what's the first question? You said MPH, and then you said, what are your chances?
Yes, MPH, and I have 4.6 CGP. What are my chances if I want to pursue PhD in public health in the UK?
Oh, okay. If you want to pursue PhD in the UK, okay, fab. So for me, I would always advise that a PhD is more focused on, obviously, it depends on the funding source, if it's self-funded or scholarship, but I don't think we have time for all of that now. But what I would just say is, if it's PhD, try and put enough effort in your research proposal, because your proposal, in addition to your CV, of course, but the proposal is actually what would really sell you and what you want to do. We want to know that you know what it takes to do a PhD, and your idea is good enough for a PhD application. And also, if you can, while you're applying or before you apply, you send your application in, try and cold email some professors or some, we don't really call, I mean, there's not a lot of professor in quotes in the UK. We have lecturers, senior lecturers. So any of those within the departments in the university that you're interested in, try and cold email them, like previous speaker has highlighted, so that you can write in your statement as part of what you've done. I've linked up with Professor this or Dr. that, and they are quite excited and interested in my project, because sometimes some applicants get declined because they don't have someone that can supervise them. So if you've already covered that part, you most likely will get through. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fola. I don't know if Victor wants to add something to that. You're muted, Victor.
Yes, I think Dr. Fola said most of the things. It's just about cold emails. So it depends on the university or the course you're also applying for. Some universities do not require cold emails, some do. So you have to know the distinction as well, whether you have to send or not. And also the proposal. So for public health, for instance, a professor might already have like a topic and a question. And all you just need to do is to show that you have the background to undertake this particular research. But in a situation where you expected to come up with your own research topic, your own research question, then you have to send a proposal. So know the distinctions as well. We left some websites in our breakout room. I hope you got the website. where you can find opportunities in public health. So look at them and see their different or their peculiar application requirements. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for that. Goodness, James, please go ahead, unmute yourself and ask your question. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I actually have a master's degree and I'm planning to go for a PhD. But my issue now is that most schools I see, they're always saying they need a certain GPA on the undergraduate level. So my question now is that what do I do in that case? So I just go for a PhD or should try a second master's?
Sorry, anyone can answer this.
Goodness, just to be clear, you said you have a master's in what area?
Okay, so I have an undergraduate degree in international relations. I have a master's in peace and conflict studies.
So you want to go for a PhD in what?
In peace and conflict studies.
So if you join the US breakout session, and if I get you, you said your master's has a better GP, right?
Yes, a 4.0.
I mean, use it then.
Okay.
Yes, use it and then look for schools. Okay, you were saying they need something, they need like a certain CGPA.
Yes.
But your CGPA is good already.
Like on the undergraduate level, they need like a certain CGPA.
Okay, for most schools, if you're applying for a PhD, most of what will matter is your master's CGPA. You understand? For the requirements, yeah. If you're going for it, so in US you can go from your BSc or BA to PhD. So most times they will generalize these things. But if you have a master's already, you can go from your master's, straight up to your PhD. And what will matter at that time is your master's CGPA. Do you understand?
But what of in Canada? Because I feel like Canada is quite different.
Okay, I'm talking about US. So, and for US, if you need more clarity, just like I said in our breakout session, you can email the schools directly. You get the right information from them.
Okay.
I don't know if Tim wants to answer that. Tim Lane, please, or Soma, you, yes.
Okay.
All right, I'll go ahead. I think it's almost the same thing with the US, if you are thinking about Canada in that regard, because your master's certificate should actually mask whatever inadequacies in your undergraduate transcript. So I would advise that you look out for more schools. That school might just have a weird requirement. So you might look out for other schools that would actually accept what you have, because if you have a good grade in your master's, you don't have to feel rejected or so just try other schools.
All right, thank you so much for that.
Can I add like one sentence?
Yeah, go ahead.
Basically, for the US, it is always stated on their website that you just need a bachelor's to apply to a graduate program, most of the schools. And the fact that you have a master's gives you an edge. And even if you have a 2-2, of course, I've seen people who have 2-2 have gotten funding. It is everywhere. You have testimonies that is everywhere. So what most departments do is that even when they state that the minimum requirement is 3 points on a 4-point scale, they always put a clause there that there is conditional at offer, even if you have a lower CGPA. So they consider other documents you submit. For instance, you have a master's already, that can boost your application. So having a lower CGPA for your bachelor's doesn't stop you from getting funding. So what you need to do is, does the school require you to do WES evaluation to boost your CGPA in a way? If they don't require you, just go ahead and apply, or you can first of all email the grad school to tell them that, okay, you have this CGPA, but you have a master also. And they will give you information and tell you that, oh, you stand a chance. So that's where you will be able to, have a better information, just as Peace have said.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. I'm going to go to, I think for the sake of time, I'm going to start with Adige Lucky. So if you raise your hand after, then I might not be able to respond to your question. So actually, Missy, please go ahead and ask your question. You can unmute yourself. Yeah.
All right. I'm sorry I logged in late. I was a bit at the meeting much, but I graduated from PTI engineering, and basically I have a practical background on, and I that UX takes PhD. They take PhD.
It seems like you're breaking. Is it from my end?
Yeah, he's breaking. Adegaye, please, we're gonna come back to you. Yeah. Akinwumi, please go ahead. Akinwumi, please go ahead.
Okay, I did my bachelor degree.
Yeah, go ahead.
Chemistry.
Yeah, go ahead with your question.
But the issue I'm having is that my thesis is not really.
There's some network issue.
They're breaking. Yeah, I'm gonna go. Jalal, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. My question is actually about Australia. So actually I want to ask about the RTP scholarship. I understand there's great need to secure a supervisor before even applying to the school.
Go ahead, please.
Hello, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. So in a situation where one was unable to secure a supervisor before the admission cycle closes, what do you think one should do? Can we just go ahead and apply it without securing a supervisor, or just look for another opportunity? Thank you.
All right, Aaron, please. Yeah.
Allow Rose
Okay.
you can start on that.
I think for most Australians, I know there's a form you have to even fill expression of interest form. You have to have a supervisor before you will do that to apply for admission. So I don't think you'll be admitted, even self-funded, without a supervisor. That's one of the things I think I know. Getting a supervisor is one of the first thing before applying for scholarship. But I don't know if other university does, but most universities I know, you have to get a supervisor. What I would advise is keep writing your cold email, learn how to write it, be brief in it and write it very well, then work on your resume and keep writing.
Yeah, and just to add, if the funding circle is closed, if you find somebody you're still interested in, write the person and say, hey, I mean, this is my work. I know the funding circle has closed, but are you able to supervise me so I can wait for the next funding circle while also writing other supervisors in other places? So just you don't lose out on some opportunities. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Rosemary and Aaron, for the answers. We're going to just take more people and we're going to close. Emeka, please go ahead with your question.
All right, good evening from Nigeria. My name is Chukwemeka Ogbunaya. Yes, I think the first section that Israel took, he talked about using story as a form of writing the SOPs. Is it limited to a particular field or it's applicable to all fields? So,
all right.
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, what I did the first session, the first session before.
I think I get your question.
Got your question, yeah.
Yeah, I got your question. Up until now, until today, I still write stories for my research article, and I wish I can show you one. Right? I wrote the introduction, because almost every article would have introduction. I wrote the introduction, and my supervisor was like, "Israel, you're writing evocative stories. This is interesting." I'm like, okay, I think they are liking this. And so all of my research article would always start with a story, very interesting stories, story that I would try to link with. So what I'm trying to say is that in every facet of your life, in anything you are doing, whether it's science, and we are gearing towards, having knowledge translation now. So even if you are a thick science person, you're encouraged to kind of, put some humanness into your, your writings and your whatever you are doing. So whether you are trying to write for scholarship, or you are trying to write for a business proposal, or you are trying to write to woo your next, your wife, there's a story in everything. So put the story together and start writing. Okay, so it applies to every facet of your life. So okay, just learn the skill, and then understand that there are different stories for different context as well. Don't go and be writing about how you suffered when you are you're applying for a business pitch or something like that. So there are you need to be careful. Let me put it that way, right? You need to be very careful. There are tendencies to story, right? So even within the academic community, some of the drawbacks or some of the objection towards storytelling is that sometimes it makes things very simplistic, right? And then it can be manipulative sometimes. So you need to be very careful. But if you have a good command of storytelling, my brother can do anything. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One question. Can I ask the second one?
No, you won't be able to answer the ask the second one, please, because
no,
of our time. All right, confidence Paul. Then after confidence Paul, I'm gonna go to Do, then Promise. Confidence Paul, please go ahead. All right, so Udo, please go ahead with your question. It seems confidence does not want to ask the question anymore. Udo, go ahead with your question. All right.
Hi, good afternoon. This is Olajuwon Idowu from Nigeria. I think the first question I want to ask, the only question I want to ask really is in putting together my CV for graduate admission, I was advised recently to include my publications, not research publications, for instance. So I have an NGO and it has gotten a lot of traction with the United Nations. I've done some TV interviews with BBC Africa, and I was advised to include something like that in my CV. What do you think of that? Then the second thing is not a question. I'm hoping that when we're running up the session, if panelists could also share website that they think that we could check for school applications, like the UK panelists did. I'm not interested in just the UK, so I'm hoping that if there's any other person that wants to share, website links that we should be on the lookout for, I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Udo. Before anybody answer the question, I'm going to say that I'm going to flog you if you don't include the things you mentioned earlier into your CV. I mean, they are very important. I mean, they show your track records. Yeah. Let me just stop. I don't know if someone wants to flesh in that my comment up. Yeah.
Yes, I think just what I come from the NGO space as well, having worked in the NGO before I came here, and those are very valid things. You can have invited talks or interviews or presentations, have a section like that and put those presentations and the links that are there as well. And it'll even be more catchy, especially if you're applying for something in your space of in the space of development as well. So yeah, very critical to add that. But again, be very strategic in adding, what will sell your story for the particular thing you're selling. Don't just crowd your CV with everything and anything. You can be also selective to amplify what will sell your story for the particular program you're applying to. Thank you.
Just to add to that, please, if you're in the media space or if you're in communication and you don't have maybe a peer-reviewed journal article, but you have newspaper articles to your name, please try and include them into your CV. They're going to be your selling point. Yeah. All right. So I'm going to call on Promise Akali. Please go ahead with your question. And I think that might be the last person who will give the opportunity to ask question.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, the panelists, for a wonderful and well thought out section. Yeah, so my question is that I have a background in biochemistry. After my undergraduate, I ventured into public health. So I've had a lot of research work, though I do as more like a research assistant for both quantitative and qualitative research. So I don't have access to the publication. So how do I include that in my application? Because my area of interest now is public health in either the UK or Australia. So I just wanted to get some more clarification. Do I have the experience, but I don't have access to the publications on some of those researches, both quantitative and qualitative? so any of the panelists can answer. Thank you. Over.
Yeah, I don't understand when you say you don't have assets. Did you author the publication, or are you part of the authors of the publication?
No, I don't author the publication. So I mostly have been contracted as a consultant, or more or less a research assistant, just to maybe carry out data collection activities.
And unfortunately for you, your name were not included. I mean, your name was not included in the publications.
Yes.
That one's serious. Yeah.
So let me jump in here. So what I did in my own case was I think I was in your own situation some 5-6 years ago. So I used to, during my bachelor's degree days, I used to work with some of my supervisors, some of my lecturers, new lecturers then, and then we'll go to Kwara State, we'll go and collect data, we'll go to this, we'll go, they pay me my money. I would just go because me, I want money that time. I was hustling big time that time. So they pay me my money, I go. But I didn't realize what I was doing to myself. I didn't know that all of these things could have helped me when I was about to apply. And one funny thing that happened when I was about to apply, one of the papers that I wrote, I wrote it was even my final year project, right? But because I collected money, right, I didn't have any claim to it again, right? And I saw it when I was trying to find papers, just find papers to reference and say, this is my real. And I saw my paper, I was like, but I cannot use this one now. Nobody would, So what I was able to do was, in my research experience, I documented all of those things. And then I wrote some of the things that I did. I did this for this paper. 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 So with that, I was able to communicate to the review panel, whoever that is reading my CV, that, I have experience. I have done this before. I even included, PhD thesis that I help people to, put some things, 1 or 2 things together. When you are hustling in Nigeria, you don't know that some of the things you are doing, you are injuring yourself, right? You just want money, 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 money. But then when the time comes, you now discover that, oh, I missed out. So I think one of the ways you can manage that would be to kind of, gather something in your CV and then write, I did this for this, I did this. Be very explicit. Don't lay claims to the papers. Don't lay, because of course your name is not there. And then maybe they didn't even acknowledge you. Of course they paid you. So just reference that I did this for this, I did this for this. And of course, if there is a need, for them to, people reviewing your work to now come and say, for this paper you said you did this, for this paper you said you did this, for this. Especially when you have like 4, 5, 7 papers, somebody will be curious, like, all these people, your name no dey there. What happened? So then you can now start telling them that, oh, you used to do this professionally as a consultant and all that. Then you would be able to maybe convince somebody. I hope that helps.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Again, yeah, watch out for red flags, because that could be a red flag to some other people. Like,
yes,
you have 10 papers in which you had contribution to, but your name was not there. Yeah, it's either they think that you were actually shortchanged, because it could actually induce so many means. So always be careful with that. Yeah, just mention as little as you can mention to keep it sane. Yeah, because sometimes you might look at it like maybe you are involved in academic fraud for people. So be careful, be very careful. Yeah. All right. I don't know if there's any other contribution before we round up. Yeah, I think we've taken so much time. Yeah, we've taken so much time today. Yeah, I think in the absence of that contribution, yeah, I'm going to appreciate all our panelists, starting from Aaron. Aaron, thank you for joining us all the way from Australia.
Hello, good afternoon.
So it's 1 a.m. around your time there. Please, we won't be able to answer any question anymore. Sorry about that. Yeah, so please drop your question in the chat box. One of those things I want to do is to compile all the questions, and the panelists in their free time will be able to answer some of these questions. Thank you so much, Rosemary, also from Australia. I think it's 1 a.m. over there now. Yeah,
1 a.m.
Oh, yours is even more than 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. Okay, it's 1 a.m. Sorry. Sorry about that. Thank you so much, Amaka Peace, all the way from I don't know your city in Illinois, but yeah, well, it's fine. Thank you so much, Sunday Okafor. Thank you so much, Adeseko Israel. Thank you, Soma Okibe. Thank you so much, Dr. Folashade Alloh. Thank you, our brother from Japan, Mr. Lowokere Emmanuel. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor. I mean, just go to the YouTube of Mr. Victor. I mean, all the questions on your ads are already
You're
answered
welcome.
there. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Olaiwola from South Korea. Hope I'm not missing anybody. Okay, my friend Timilein is a good friend. Thank you so much, all the way from Canada. I've been able to actually, cover everyone. And I think during the session, Professor Shola Timi actually also joined us. Much for joining. I don't know if you're still on the call, but I would like to appreciate you for joining this session. And to everyone who joined the session, to all the participants, thank you for actually staying from when we started to this point. And please, I would like to apologize for the inability to actually answer all the questions. Hopefully, what I'm going to do after this session is to compile all the questions, and send to all our panelists, and in their free time, they're going to respond to those questions. Thank you, everyone. Hopefully, we're going to see you in the next Scholars Connect. All right, see you, and have a lovely day.
Yeah.